Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here, basically, we are discussing about the topic that is 11 parts, which is getting divided. Basically, in this, basically, we are discussing about the Asian land, basically, which is getting divided. Basically, in this, basically, we are talking about the one person, basically, who was actually might be possible that basically he might have developed that system. Basically, he might have actually kept basically to track basically whether the things is going or right or not. So by mistake he might have tracked that basically why the plane basically are going to the Himalayan mountain. Basically most of plane basically are going to the Himalayan Everest basically, and there basically the plane was getting disappear suddenly. So he might have inquired that basically where is Himalayan, where is Mount Everest. That time basically the Google was not up to that level basically, so he might not have able to, so he might have contacted from Indian group basically, and that time basically they might have given the information that basically Himalaya actually is one mountain basically, and Everest is also basically one of the mountain basically. Then basically that time basically he might have tracked basically that he might have kept some record basically that these all are the basically records. And there are lots of USA basically software company also basically they say that basically this basically death record basically that is basically not in front of the world basically, that is basically we are only basically handling that basically. In that basically it might possible that the plane basically which is getting crashed, that software company might be handling basically that database basically, but some group is basically there in USA basically, they are keeping the track of that databases. So if that also basically might be tracked by the FBI group, that software also basically might be tracked, then also basically lots of plane basically might not have crashed basically. Or basically the another thing basically, the plane from where basically the creation is happening, if they might have tracked that also basically, then also basically they might have tracked that. That means somebody basically is doing the investment in USA basically, the USA person is not doing the investment, that is 100% sure basically. Somebody else people are basically doing the investment basically. That's why basically this was not able to track. That is, so possibilities are basically there. Not possibility basically, that is only the thing basically. If the USA person is basically was doing the investment, then basically he was the only person basically. He was the only person basically. But most possibility, lots of people says that the employee basically who are handling the company basically, they are actually handling the company basically. So in this basically that might possible that basically employee might be handling. In that basically the Asian basically might be the employee basically in United States of America. That possibilities might be there. Then basically why this was not tracked? That is the question basically. Possibility one is the USA FBI basically group are also involved. Possibility second is they never able to track that. Why? Because they never able to get that data only basically. Why? Because whenever the data is basically getting loaded basically, that time it's getting live data only, no basically. But that time basically the data are basically getting overwritten basically, but they never able to track that basically. This is second possibility. Third possibility is the internal people basically might be involved in this. Fourth possibility is they might have tracked and then basically they might have ignored that basically. But one time they can ignore, second time they can ignore, third time basically they can ignore, but every time basically it might be happening, then they might be doing the by mistake only, no basically. It's not ignored basically, that is called mistakes basically. Or basically it might be possible that their people basically are in the FBI basically, their group basically might not be dying. That's why they might be telling that basically our people is not dying, na basically. This possibility might be fifth number. And sixth number basically might be that some Asian group basically might be giving the money to the government basically who is the ruling the USA, and they basically might be involved basically. That possibility chance are basically two basically. Why? because lots of people says that basically that Bill Clinton basically is from Uttar Pradesh. Possibilities are basically there, but really basically he is basically from Uttar Pradesh. That basically we don't know basically. His history basically connects to Uttar Pradesh. Lots of people says basically whether it is correct or not. That basically you have to verify basically. So one of the person told that basically the USA basically who rules the USA, that basically from where basically they are coming and how basically the histories are basically getting created, that basically need to check basically. Then one of the person told that yes basically, but up to what level they are going to check? They are going to check from the database only, na, basically. Then he told that yes here basically, because USA say that basically we are fully digital basically. So the data also basically might be that type of only basically. So physical verification is must basically. That's why I always prefer the physical verification. Digital data basically you can't trust the digital data. So that basically also might be the one of the problem basically, that USA basically never able to track that. Never ever. So that World Trade Center basically was not planned basically. I am 100% telling you basically. Not 100%, 98%. That might be basically done by one of the group basically. That basically we already discussed which group basically. That is Himalayan mountain and Mount Everest basically. That is the Asian group basically. And Asian group basically, how many countries are there in Asian group? That we will just discuss basically who are basically the, and in this basically which countries are involved. Few countries basically might not be knowing that also basically, that which kind of activities basically is happening. See, 44 countries basically are there in Asia basically. See basically. "48 countries basically now. See basically. Previously it was 44, now 4 countries basically somebody added. 48 plus 3. 51, 52 basically. List of Asia countries. See basically. Countries of Asia basically. It's more basically, I think. It's more than 50, 60, 70 I think basically. And other than Asia basically. See basically. So this contains basically. So one of the person told them basically why this is there. That basically where Himalaya mountain is. Himalaya mountain. Mountains of Himalaya. See basically. It's in Asia basically. Then Mount Everest is where basically. See basically it's in Asia. So one of the person told that basically, if that time basically the World Trade Center was tracked by some group basically, that time lots of people basically might have saved basically. That time only basically. From that time only. So it's already 22 years. So in 22 years, how many plane might have crashed? How many people basically might have died? That basically never able to track them. The reason families only basically ends. Family only ends. Then basically who will do the inquiry basically? Who will do the inquiry of this? So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this incidents basically.